Okay, welcome to session 9. So this is our last session before we have a break for a couple of weeks, and then we are back in October again, which is going to be when? It's going to be it won't be that one, it'll be what, the 15th? Tuesday the 15th, I make it. We'll be back. All right, minus Robin. Okay, so all right, so we'll be all right. So we're going to go now. Let's just have a look. All right, so here we go. So down here, we just what I'm going to talk about is the procedure document because when we submit it, when we come back, aren't we? Yeah, next we changed the program now from last week. So that's student portfolio is there. So yeah, the due submission is now the Tuesday when we get back on the 15th from memory. Yep. So I think it's open already to submit. I think I did that the other day. So, but what you need to do before you submit is go into this student portfolio document here and fill in some information for the first part of the submission, which is 1 of 3. So I just wanted to bring your attention to that area there. It's down the bottom where the pages sort of go, I think, like that. They go landscape. So that would be from, what's page number here? Anyway, whatever, page 55 I'm getting here. Yeah. So you have to go and do some, like the assessor completes this bit here, but the student completes these bits here and this one here. So, but pretty much this here is, we've filled it in for you, yeah, that column there. So you need to just basically tick in here. So these are basically what you should have demonstrated that you've done in your floor plan. So it's basically a bit of a check-in list that we have covered everything that it says there. So for example, yeah, we know how to put a drawing title now on there. We've done some abbreviations like whatever, dishwasher, DW, whatever it might be. Ubo is my favorite, under bench oven. Okay, I love Ubo. All right, so commonly used symbols, things like that. We use a smoke detector and things like that. Hatch regions, we've done all that stuff, right? Numbering, yes, puts numbers. Paper size, yes, all of that. So you've got to tick all that. So basically all you've got to do is just click there and put a tick there. All right? But you have to do it. Now, if you haven't covered it, obviously, or you haven't done it for your particular drawing because you didn't have time, then you don't tick it. And then it just hasn't been done. But you eventually will come back with a note saying, well, you got to do it. So it's got to be done.
The whole thing is due on the 15th of October.
The first part of it, which says here, it is the well, it's evidence 01 is a floor plan. Yeah, that's one. But also evidence 2 is the, hold on, it doesn't say. It's that reframing here, reframing. All right, so that should say reframing really. Yeah?
So when we submit it, we submit a page that's got half of it empty because there's a floor plan on one side.
Actually, okay, I'll go back to the this one here. I'll go back to. I'll go back to what we need to submit. Okay, let's look at that. So start here. The learning schedule. Okay, so we'll come down here. So 5 holidays are here. What's due? Okay, so what's due actually is sheet A01, and on that sheet, the example sheet that we gave you is got the 2 plans on it. And that's been updated on there as well. So if we look at what that entails here, it's actually task or evidence 1 and 2, it's the same thing. Task 1, evidence interchangeably, right? So if we look at the evidence 1 and 2 is what's got to go on the A01, then it is the floor plan and it is a reframing plan. So you've got to tick only the information relating to those 2. So you don't do evidence 4, obviously, I'm all the way down there, or evidence 3, but you do anything above that. So this is evidence 2 up here. See, evidence 2. So for that one there, again, drawing title, lettering, line types, yes. What else? characteristics, open, view, and save drawing according to file documents. So obviously, you're going to save it, be able to send it. Textiles, multi-liters, and whatever we'll put on there. Hatching, yes, we've done some hatching in the way of roofing. I'll show you that later. Yeah, so that basically, yeah, so when we apply truss placements, that's deemed as a numeracy skills because we're doing some divisions or whatever. So yeah, so that's basically tells you what bits we covered, where we covered those basically. Yeah. All right, so just been pointed out that on my floor plan I've got this sliding door size missing, which is very well spotted. Full marks for that. Yeah, that's sorry. So that door is this one here, the third one down. This one here. So that code is this one here, SD-2114. So that's 2100, but what is it, 1400 watt, is it? Yeah, 1450, yeah, but that's just the closest. So they do, okay, so that's the code. So similar to this, just write that over here. We don't, obviously, yeah, we don't need these numbers, just put the code straight on there. Unfortunately, in reality, to be honest, I suppose the Windows should have also had a code of numbering like similar to the sliding doors, I suppose, to keep it consistent. At the end of the day, probably in a more real situation, you have the schedules somewhere on the sheet as well, so you can cross-link. But anyway, that's not what we're handing up. What we're handing up is this, and there is that omission there, so just fix that up. So thanks for picking that up. All right, I'm sure there's a few others in there. We'll fix that for version 3 next time. But so where were we? So that I was just talking about. The other thing you need to do is make sure you hand this up as a Word file. Do not save it into PDF because we still need to type in here and give you comments back. All right, so that's the story there. All right, so you only fill in up to where you get to evidence 3. So at the end of that, you stop, and then you send this file with your drawing and your PDF, AR1. So you'll be sending 3 things, am I right? Upload, Word, drawing, PDF, 3 things to upload, and then we'll send you this Word file back with our comments. And next time you send us that one back with the previous comments so we can add to it. Okay? How about that? All right, so we can move on from that, I suppose, now. Any other questions there? I just want to double check here that that we can upload at this stage, even if when you're ready. I have got here submit, so you can actually submit that one. I'm not sure this due 19th of September. I'm not sure that. Yeah. I think yeah. All right, we'll leave that. We'll change that, but it's due on the 15th. I think. Yeah, it's down here. After the break, where's the break? 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's a break here. So yeah, 15th of October. Yeah. All right. Easy. All right. So now moving on. Okay. So there's a few things. In doing the dimensions, I came up with a few little issues. I'll just start off with a couple of areas where I've made some changes on my one. For example, these little things here can get in the way in a situation like this, a little bit too long. All right. So let me just bring up the properties, control 1. So what I did for this specific situation and a couple of others around the area, if we look at this one here, for example, if I just crossing window to get both of them, because there is one that is up here, there's actually 2 of them. There's like one that's part of that, which has been shortened. And there's also one, here you go. So it's part of that, and one that's part of that dimension, and this one that's part of this dimension. It's about like, yeah, there's a couple on each line there. So you need to get crossing window across there. And unfortunately, this one varies now because I have done some change on that one there. I'll just get one that hasn't had a change. Maybe this one here. So if I go there, see how it says here in the properties, and this has got a long list of things you can change. But in the properties here, the extension line fixed length is 6, which is what we set up in the dimension style. You can change that to say 4 millimeters in a situation like the previous one, where it just shortens that back so you can have a bit of room for your text, so it's not overriding text. Now I don't have to do it for this one. This one I should leave how it was, I suppose, but Control Z. But in a situation like this, it is good to get you out of that trouble, because if I had left this one at 6, this is what it looked like. So there's all over the text. So just do a bit of housekeeping and just fix it up a little bit then. That's one thing I found with the current sort of dimension style we've got. All right, so the other thing I found was this. Yeah, sometimes like I get team linear, yeah, dimension style. Yeah, so for example, I found this one particular one here, for example, when I moved, no, this on the 350, and a few others have done it for a few others of you. I've seen on your examples that you had some other problems also. But where's the 350 gone? So 350 here, it gave me trouble before. This one here, when I moved this 350 out, it went to 35,000, I think, or 3,500. I can't remember. It changed. The number changed. You know, there. So to fix that up, then I just, I'll make it. This one here. It's called dim scale linear. So that is usually set to, it's called minus 100. Dim scale linear. It's a whole list of dim scale. Where is it? Here, dim scale linear. All right, so that one there was something like, oops, no, something like that. It went something like that. Maybe it was more like, when I moved the text out, it just gave me this unusual number. So you just got to go in here, just type in 1. Oh, so now we're in trouble. Nothing works. Let me just go back. All right, so if I make that, it shouldn't, because you moved the number out, it shouldn't change, but it did. So yeah, I can't get it to do it now, but the idea is to go into dim scale linear and just change that to 1. And for me now, it's not going to behave. So I'll try a different dimension style. But I have had it with a couple of you that asked me privately between the lectures, and you had the same issue. Someone else had the issue here, this one here. And I'll give that one more go, and that's it. It's all the way down here, dim scale linear, just down here. And unfortunately, if I try moving it, is when it actually does it, but it didn't do it this time. So put another. So if it's like that, I will attempt to change it back. I suppose it's just a matter of mucking around with a number, but usually 1 fixes it. I didn't, so maybe it's 100 or 10. Just putting a number. No, it's 100. But it does make it. It does put a minus in front of it normally if it works, but you just have to muck around until you get it right. It's the only way I know how to fix it, other than redimensioning it. But if you move it, I try redimensioning some cases and moving number out again, and it did the same thing. So I thought I'd better find a different solution, and that's one solution. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine if you can redimension it, and when you do the same thing, it doesn't do it again. But if it does all the time, this is another way of fixing it. All right, so if if you're frustrated trying to do that before submission, this is a solution for you. All right. So those two solutions that I just gave are pretty good. The other one is here. So this one here, for example, the text, when you write the M text, it has a big space between the two words. So the only other solution we've given in the past is to write it in two separate pieces of text and move it closer together. Whereas you can actually do it with the line spacing option of the M text. So I'm on the here. There's a line space distance. Oh no, that's not it. Sorry, that can't be it. 2, maybe it is 2. I'm not sure what the default is. I'll just check. Maybe this one here. The default line space distance is 3.3 normally on this sort of size thing. So yes, I made that one 2 millimeters. So it's varying now, but I made this one 2 or 2, whatever.
I don't like the look of something, like I detest the look of that open shelving. Can we actually just move it up to clean it up?
This thing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course you can. Of course you can do anything you like. Well, you can put something like this and put an arrow to it if you want.
Right.
You know. So.
No, I just detest the spacing on it.
Oh, you don't like the spacing?
No, I don't like the spacing.
Oh, so it's the wrong arrow. Anyway. Oh yeah, well that's right. If you don't like that space, the spacing of the lines between, yeah, obviously you just click there and just.
Just take the 3.3 and take it back to 2.
Well, that's not good. You can see that's right.
Too tight.
That's right. So you just play with it. I mean, that one worked because it didn't have any didn't have a Q down here, for example.
Yeah.
So you know.
But those sorts of like aesthetic changes to make it look just a little bit.
Yeah. Just look around and no, there's no problem. Just make it. The idea is to make the thing legible, and the drawing you can imagine is a communication tool between you and on site. So you just always remember that you got to communicate, and it's communicating the wrong thing, then giving the wrong impression. Then yeah, just make it clear as much as you can. Yeah. Back to basics, really. Yeah. Okay, good. So same here. I think yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to have that there. I would just control arrow down a bit. Just so it's not on top of the line. Do things like that. All right. So yeah. All good. Yeah. All right. So what did I stuff up here? What number did I want to put in here? So I'll do it now before I forget. CO. Copy that, and we'll put it here. Someone read out the number. Was it 8? Was it S? So SD1 2114, is it? Okay, that's what it was. Easy. So that's fixed. All right. Now the other thing I wanted to tell you is this, and I have actually, I think, yeah, I've exported this out now for the next group of people, for next semester. But if I just go into, let me just go into the model for a minute. If you go into here, you remember how we came here and we actually hatched this, but then it wasn't working, and we put this little line in here, all right, to make it work. In reality, someone has given us a block that's not really nice or workable. So what you can do is actually fix it on the fly, and and get yourself something that works, and then keep it for the future. Which is, and the other thing, I found a few other issues while I went into this block. I found it has some other issues. So what I did, I highlighted this, and I did that to a couple of blocks in here, I think. Right click and then block editor. Right, so it's a bit like the family editor in Revit. Right, so you come in here, and then you just, sorry. Oh. Okay, so then what you do is draw a line in that particular area that we drew a line before. Now making sure you are in layer 0, which I am in here. If you go to home, you can put layer 0 on. So draw a line wherever I put it in the other one. It doesn't matter where, probably here, I don't know. There. All right, so that's in layer 0. But I also found that they put in a couple of other things in here in layer floor hatch. This one here is in floor hatch as well. Really, what they're trying to achieve is, from memory, there was a sort of a grey color, a light grey, I think, and that what they were trying to achieve with the floor hatch is actually a 0.05 thickness, right? So the intent is to have something thin. So what I then did with that block to make it work is actually also put that in layer 0. But this is a classic example where I am now going to go a little bit against what have been the teachings, and rather than create another, well, if I was to create another layer or two, I will create one called glazing and one called label, arrow, whatever. But I don't think I think I can get away with not doing any of that and just putting it in layer 0 and changing just simply. Look, I could change the color to be gray, but it's not going to help me in any way because it's not going to print gray anyway. All I'm trying to achieve is actually that it's 0.05. So I'm just going to only change the the line weight to 0.05, like that. That's it. And now this is if I tick it, save the changes to that block, and now that's fixed. It's all red now. That one, this one. It changed all of them. I think it did because they're all part of the same family except for, well, the same block, except for this one here, which is not. Again, that's another one. This one here, you can see mine. Actually, this one here, I could have put, what I have done with this one, again, I exported it out, but I actually put, in this family, I fixed this up, so it's not gray. And I also ended up putting some frames within the factual family because it looked like this, the family, family blocks, wrong, I'm talking Revit. Within the actual blocks, the block, I put those frames within the block. I think that's a better option. But for now, for this one here, I just put them on top like that. It looks nice. But again, I wouldn't have this double line here because at the 1:100, 0.05, it almost sort of still merges and becomes thick anyway. So you're trying to achieve something thin, you put two lines next to each other and it's thick anyhow. So really, and also in keeping with, even those, that's another one, like I wouldn't have that double like that. So you can go through and fix things up if you want, but you don't have to. The main thing was that one there, this one here. This I would probably do that in the future. Instead of putting that line that I put there, I would probably just modify the family, so the block. Forgive me, keep saying the wrong thing. All right, so anyhow.
Also, the white lines, they're supposed to be 25, but the top half of the 70. Is there any reason for that? Because they won't show up in the printing anyway.
The white lines?
White lines, yeah.
What white line?
Because when I went through the codes,
Oh yeah, white, yeah.
some are white. Now it said that the target size is 25, some of them are 70. Does that matter?
7.7, you mean?
Yeah, 0.7.
Yeah. The text one I think is 0.7.
Pardon?
I think the text one is 0.7. I think, yeah. I think, yeah.
Right, the text one's 27, and it doesn't match it.
Actually,
I just want to change anything that's default to 0.25.
Default, yeah, anything that's default, you can change it to 0.25. Yeah, that's what default is. Well, that's 0.7 there. That's a ground line. That's fine, but we're not using that. Like I think down the track, we will find, and that's well picked, that the text one is okay at 0.7, but it is not when you have. Okay, let's have a look what we've got. That's one thing I was going to bring up actually. So I'm glad you did that. Now, have we got anything under text? That's text, all right. What's this? Text. That's text. Okay. So now there's all text there, but there's no text that has got an arrowhead or an arrow to it or any line on that. So let me just do this example here where I started doing that earlier, where I go, there's a command called LE, or you can use the multi-leader. It's up to you. Let's just use the multi-leader. I don't know how that works, but let's see. Oh, okay. So it wants me to do that, but I didn't want that. I already got the text there, so I'll just put this. Oh, let's put it there. It doesn't matter. I don't, when I'm adding sort of arrowheads, I list when I'm adding arrowheads. I prefer to use this other command. You just have to type it in. Eli, it's a bit easier for me. It stands for leader, and so in this situation where I've got that already there, I just go like that. Normally, if it worked, a bit of liar of me. The reason it might have worked is because I didn't go. Where are we? ABS tick. It worked earlier, but anyway, it's not working now. Anyhow, oh, there it is. It worked. Finally.
So EXT, is it? What's the short form?
LE.
ELI.
Not just LE, two letters. L for Larry, E for egg. Leader. Just leader. It's just a bit of an arrowhead. The reason I put that there is because this is text and that's line, and this line is going to be under text as well. Because we know originally in our setup, someone has set up text to be 0.7 for some reason. I don't know why. And I've followed it through in this semester without thinking there's going to be a problem, but I realized early on it was going to be a problem. But then I thought, leave it there because it's an excellent example to show you or why you need to check things and why you need to, make some decisions. So let's go with this. So now I've got this much. We're not ready to print, but I'll make it. I'm going to print it. So if I go to print and continue, and then I go to preview. Now make sure. Now I'm not going to use ABS. I'm going to use the monochrome. All right. So I'm going to go preview. So there it is. So check out your arrow. Right. There's nothing wrong with your text. All right. Because the text is made out of a font called TrueType font, which is a Windows font, and that's scalable. It works itself out. So where it's bigger text, it gives you a thicker line around the F and the L and all that, and all the letters. But yeah, when you look at this, what's going on here? Yeah. So then this is okay as well, but that line work is not okay. And now with AutoCAD, all right, with AutoCAD, if I just cancel that, with AutoCAD, just so you're aware, if we've got a text style here, and that text style here is called ABS, for example, and it's using an Arial font. If I was using, see how this thing's got TT next to them? T. All right, you might come across some that have this little divider symbol. They're AutoCAD fonts. They're internal to AutoCAD only. They're not Windows. So, classic one is TXT, for example, that is pretty much a default in AutoCAD. ST. How many S's are there? All right, TXT. This one here is pretty common in AutoCAD. So if I was to have that as TXT, I'll just apply that for a minute, go close. So my fonts are pretty mechanical looking ones. But this is how AutoCAD was before we have the Windows ones. So if I go plot now, which is the same thing as print, and I go preview, those fonts are actually quite thick. They're picking up the 0.7 thickness as well, and that's what. Yeah, that's why we don't need to have it. Back then, you would have a layer for text 0.25, a layer for text 3.5, a layer for text 0.5 millimeter, 0.7, and so forth. Now, because we're using those scalable fonts, the TrueType fonts, we only have to have one layer called text, and then we set that at a thinner. We set that at the thinnest at the line weight that we want our arrow to be, which is 0.25, and then all the fonts take care of themselves. All right. So yes, the answer is you need to change. The short answer, you need to change that text 1 to 0.25. So if you ever have any arrows, which we will for the roof framing plan, then it's all good for that. All right.
Can I just ask, you have a whole pile of fonts set up there, which are.
Sorry. Yeah.
You have a whole pile of fonts set up in the text, which are 2 millimeters and 3 millimeters. I've just been using one, so I've been using what's already available.
Here.
Right? Yeah.
Sure. That's another question. Yes. Let me. Yeah, that's a good one. Hold on. You have some good ones. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. You just go back. So we don't need to worry about that. Yeah, that's good questions. Yeah. So yeah, here we have some textiles. You're saying.
Yeah.
Well, if I just go into it, it'll be easier to see. Yeah, standard two. That's well, that's the other thing we used to have. No, sorry. It depends which school you've come from. We didn't need to have those. The reason we have these, okay, take a look at the ABS. It says 0. The text height is 0. Take a look at the standard 2. 2 millimeters. 2.5. The size has been embedded into the textile. So it means I can only use it for that size text. It won't give me the option to change the size unless I'm doing M text.
Because they're all there.
Hmm?
You just change your text. You just change which one you're using for that bit of text.
Yes, that's right. You can. Yeah. But I prefer to just have one.
Right.
And then that gives me the option to make that whatever I want. Again, simplifying. One text layer, one text style.
Oh, right. So each of these are text layers.
No, they're not layers. They're styles. Right. Yeah.
Okay, but if I want to use,
you can use it. It's no problem.
3 millimeters for one, and then 2 mil. This is why I went to those ones. Because if I want to use 3 millimeters for one and 2 millimeters for another one.
Yep.
If I go into ABS.
Yeah.
How do I change the text style?
Well, are you using single line text or multi-line text?
I was using single line.
Okay. How do you change it? I'll show you. Right. So if you're using single line text and you want to use the ABS, you go like this, and you go single line text. I'm using the ABS there. You can see. Okay. So it's only one extra question that it gives you in the command. I click here. That's where I want to start. It defaults as height. No, I want to use not 2.5. That's the one I used last time. I want to use 3. Okay, so you just change it to 3. That's the same question, 0 angle, and now I've got 3. Right, using ABS, I can make that to be 3, 3.5, 3.25, 3.15. Sorry?
That only works for single?
No. Yes, because the multi-line text, you can make it be anything with any of those styles, even the ones that are fixed. I can change it. So with all these rules don't apply to this, because I could go here and say yes, I want to use one of those fixed ones, wherever that is. Sorry, I'll pick one of I don't know, standard 2 millimeters. There you go, standard 2 millimeters. I go here. And I go here and I say, okay, well, that's immediately, I want to make that one 5. Enter, and I want to make the next bit of that 2. Even though the thing is fixed, mtext ignores all those rules.
Okay, perfect.
So, all of that I said before goes out of the window with mtext. You can use any text style you like, and it ignores what's in there for the size. Yeah. Excellent. All right, so there you go. Very, very good. Yeah. Any other questions like that?
No.
Okay, so having said all that, we need to now go, either now or before printing, you need to, at some stage, when you do your preview, realize that it's the wrong size. You need to change this one here, the text one. That one there, you need to change to 0.25 for your line work, for your arrowheads, and that's about it. All right. How about that? Beautiful. All right, we need to keep moving then. Okay, so that's good. So do that change sooner or later. And I've basically covered everything. We haven't done any hatching as yet, or solid hatching or anything like that. Yes? Yes, sure, yeah.
I'm just seeing a lot of the students haven't locked their...
Oh, how about, of course.
Does it actually come up when you go to print?
Well, no. Okay, so we have a couple of questions again, still about this. Well, it's a different thing, but yeah, the first question is: does this line here print? This line is in layer viewport, and it's been set up so the layer viewport does not print because it's got a very tiny little circle here with a non-smoking sign going through it. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So that does not print. You can turn it off though if you don't want to. If you do, don't want to see it, but you won't print. So yeah, that's fine. The other thing is, yes, because especially when you're putting your dimensions here on the paper and your notes also on the paper, like your room names and my notes in my case, then it's even more imperative that you have locked your viewport. And at the moment, I'm in the paper. You can see I'm in the paper because I've got this little set square here on the bottom left. You can also see that this is a thin line. If I'm double clicking here, I get a thick line. I don't get that set square, and I also got the X and Y UCS there. So if I start moving around here now without locking that viewport, I'm going to lose the association of my room names and dimensions to my model, and then you're never going to get it back to where it should be. You might get the room names back, but you're never going to get that association of the dimensions back close enough. It will look terrible. Yeah. So that's a very real danger. And yes, do make sure it's locked before you start zooming around in here. All right. And don't ever unlock it accidentally. Even just always check. All right. So that's good. We are happy to go on. I'll just, yeah, hang on a minute. Just to finish off on hatching, because you've got a ticket as you've done it. Just want to show you this other thing here. Now, I'm going to go into model space to do that. Okay, so if I go to model space, why am I model space? Because it's much cleaner, eh? I've got no notes there, and it's great. Now, sometimes you might want to have the notes there so you can put the hatching around it. But, yeah, what I have done here is, if you have a look at this, I have just used that background mask, and we talked about that last week, didn't we? All right, so that's how you can get around that, even if you're hatching, or I have hatched that in model anyway. All right, so what I'm going to do here is basically, yeah, you would need, if you're going to hatch just one particular room, for example, like I'm going to do now, you probably need to have this layer here, floor outline set. So if I just go to floor outline, for example, yeah, and just put a line through here, just so I don't end up hatching right through the whole place. I'm just going to do one room. I'm going to just turn this off for a minute. Just turn that off because I don't want to have to worry about that line being dividing my room in half. So I know this door is dividing in half, but I'll live with that. So let's go with, and now I'm going to do some hatching. Oh, look, I'll leave it in this layer for now. So if I go to, well, actually, we've got a hatch layer, haven't we? We've got a hatch layer, floor hatch. We've got floor hatch. Yeah, let's go grey. Yeah. So let's go with hatch. All right. So far we've done normal hatch out here. So this here is just a sort of one of these hatches. All right. This one. All right. That one here is a user-defined hatch that we did over here, which was not a pattern. It was user-defined. And there's two more. There's a solid, of course, which is quite easy. There's a solid grey. All right. There you go. Got a solid grey room. All right. And then, of course, you got this other one. If I go to hatch, which is the gradient, this one. And that comes with the blue and yellow, which is the theme of today, isn't it? No. Depends on what you're wearing, I suppose. But if we go to even blue and yellow, we can leave it at that, or you can just change that to, say, a different color, maybe red or whatever. All right, so if we did that, you go in here, you get that. Now, why am I getting that? Because see that there, it's on that there. So the red starts from the left and it goes to yellow. It graduates. All right. Now this one here can be in the middle. So if I go here, it does that. Then you got the cylindrical ones, but you can get these ones here, spherical ones. So it does that, right? So there you go. Okay, so that's basically the extent of all our hatching, pretty much. Again, here it's associative. It doesn't have to be annotative, this one, I don't think, because there's no line work in it or anything like that. So yeah, so that's it for hatching.
What would someone use that for? This
For
one here, like the gradients and that.
How often do you need
yeah, okay, so you can I mean, yeah, you can use it for sky blue sort of thing if you're doing something behind an elevation. You can use it for, I mean, that's pretty terrible, but it depends. You know, you have probably all seen, you know, these sales plans you get for, you know, real estate agents or whatever. They look quite pretty, but you see some of them have a bit of a gradient in them. Possibly use something like this. Yeah. Yeah, that one goes like that. If I had two different blues here, it would be like a sky blue thing. All right. So.
Maybe it could be like showing that you see the window there, showing the light coming in from that direction or something.
Yes. I mean, you can use it in even shading in elevations. You could do that as well. But yeah, if you had a window there, yeah, you could do that. Yeah, it depends what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, true. Anyway, it's just there, so I thought I'd just show you. You might have an application for it one day. You know, obviously this here is a bit terrible the way I've done that. You know, that should have also changed to whatever I used there. But anyway, I'll delete all that, and I'll delete that, and I'll just bring up my roof back. All right, so we're good with that. We can now move on.
So if you want to roof layout.
Right?
Roof layout.
Roof layout, yes, of course. So now we're going to go into roof layout, and that is actually in here. We start that there. Yeah, add a roof plan.
I've got a roof plan, but I don't have any roof layout.
Not yet. No, not a layout. We're going to lay out the roof on the layout. We're going to draw it. It's just we're going to roof it. Roofing, yes. It's called. Yeah. So floor plan continued or that, and intro. Forget about this. We can get rid of that. Adding hatching, we're done. Add the veranda post, we did. Add the roof plan. Watch the recording of this. All right, that's all you're getting. We're going to do a bit more. Here we go. Here, right here. What's wrong? Right here. This task using the conventional style roof construction, using rafters, battens, underpillars, strutting beams, etc. Are these terminologies you ever heard before?
Yeah, all of them.
You heard all of them?
Timber framing.
Yeah, timber framing.
You've done
So,
timber framing.
so we haven't done timber framing yet. Anyway, we're going to lay out basically the rafters. Yeah. Okay. So a bit further down, I got that. There's a diagram of that somewhere in here. I don't know why it's down here, but it's down here. There is a little diagram here that tells you what these things are. So that's the rafter here. See the rafters? There's an underpillar that goes underneath all the rafters in some situations to break the span from the wall to the ridge at the top so that they are not sagging halfway, and you can get away with a smaller size rafter that way. Strutting, well, that's a strut which holds up the strutting beam, but then the strut has to sit on something. If it's not sitting on a wall, then you have to put a beam underneath that goes from wall to wall, and that's sitting on that. So that's a strutting beam. Then you've got your ceiling joists in between all that. That's your top plate. And there's another view of the same thing explaining from a different sort of angle. All right, so that's on page 24 if you want to get familiar with those terminologies and what they do. We are only going to be really worried at this point with the rafters, but then we are going to add the strutting, the underpurlin struts as well onto our roof plan, but that's going to come in a way of a block. So you just put it on top. All right, so okay, so that's page 24. Let's move back up to, not there, but about there somewhere. Back up to page 11. All right. So it says here, initial drawing setup. Start the roof framing plan by copying the current viewport to the right of the existing floor plan. All right, go into the viewport and turn off in the current viewport only. All right. dimensions, text, doors, windows, generally. Let's see, we'll come back to that in a minute. But first thing to do is to copy the viewport. Is that what it said? Okay, so let's do that. Okay. I suppose I'm copying the viewport, but I could actually create a new one as well. But if it's already there and it's pretty much set up how you want it, which is not, you can also copy it. Sometimes it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. It doesn't matter where you're doing new one or whatever. But sometimes a viewport may be pretty much how you want it, minus a few layers. Then you just copy it rather than creating a new one, which will have a whole lot of other layers in there. All right, so I'll copy it. Probably when these instructions were made, back then we had the nodes in the model, and we also had in the model the dimensions. So it was, you know, when you go through, you have to turn those off. In this case, it's pretty much 6 one way, we'll have a dozen the other. If you actually copy or create a new one, it won't have any of that stuff in it anyway. So let's just copy it across here. Make sure your author is on, yes. Yeah, that's a very good point. Make sure the author is on. So if you copy this like this, and you click somewhere here, see how it's going all over the place? We need to have the author on because we want our floor plans to be lining up. And unfortunately, this is not Revit, which will automatically line them up for you as they come close to each other. So you need to make sure it is lined up. Not that you can't align it after, you can. But yeah, I'm going to hold my shift key down, which will make it into ortho, or make sure you have your ortho on or your other one. So ortho there. Okay, there you go. Yeah. I'll just look. You don't do this, but those of you watching at home that have already done it and stuffed it up, you might want to do this. You know, if you have put it something like this, you can actually realign it by going to not the align command because it doesn't work in AutoCAD very well. You just got to go and move this viewport here, and you move it from, say, the end point of that, and you can go right click, perpendicular, lock in the perpendicular, and see if you can come over here to that line there. See how it's on the right hand side, it's got a little set square on the right hand side. I click on that line over to the left, it puts the viewport on the right. So that's the same thing as me moving it straight across. That should be aligned. And that's another reason why I have this crosshair all the way across, because I can actually just check like that. Usually that things are lining up. All right. Okay, so that's in there. Good. Now what it wants us to do is in the current viewport, we've got to turn off the dimensions. Oh, guess what? We've got no dimensions to turn off, eh? We didn't, well, unless you put your dimensions, and I think one or two of you have put your dimensions because of other issues you had. You put your dimensions in the model space, then you have to turn them off. But I've got no text. I have got doors, I've got windows, I've got joinery, plumbing appliances, hatch, or some, yeah, and tile lines. Okay.
Turn the dimensions off, or can I just like hide them because like they're on the side?
Okay. Yes. In the current viewport only, which means you have to double click in here and turn them off in that current viewport. But by turning off, I mean this. Go here, and I'm going to use it in the appliances option, plumbing appliances. I don't mean off, which is the first one, or the second one, which is freezing. I mean the third one, which is freeze or thaw in current viewport only. So you're inside the viewport, right? The viewport is locked, and you click that. And now, for example, appliances have gone. And I'm going to do the same thing with joinery. But it's not getting rid of them from the left-hand side because it's just freezing it only in that viewport. This is exactly equivalent to the view properties of Revit, which can have certain things off in one view, but they're available in the other view. All right, so what else is there? We need the roof. Walls, I think you said? Surely, no? Hatch. Doors, windows, no walls, we need the walls, of course, we need the walls. We don't need the windows or the doors. So you can go in here and turn off the doors, the windows. I go and hatching. Now, when it says hatching, it's pretty general. You need to turn off all hatching basically. So we've got floor hatching in this instance, and we also got wall hatching. So just get rid of that as well. It's not specific. What else? We've got smoke detectors here, for example. I'm not sure if it mentions them, but they're under symbols. See, that's not even mentioned. So turn off those. Now, what we're trying to achieve is really just looking at the example of what we're trying to achieve. So let's have a look at what we're trying to achieve, which I think I've got open in here. We're trying to achieve something like this. So really, yeah, we don't have any smoke detectors in here. That's been omitted, but you need to just turn that off. All right. Okay, so this is what we're going to end up with. At the moment, all we want to have is the roof outline on there and the walls, and that's it. How are we looking? Yeah, that's right. I was talking about these things earlier. So, I even put them in the wrong layers and dimensions. So really, that should be under. I just discovered an issue. That should be under doors layer. So now they're gone. Beautiful. All right. So, what's the next thing? Instructions. All right. So we've done all of this stuff here. And it shows you here what should be frozen. I haven't frozen my dimensions because I've got none anyway in model, but you might have. Okay, display the layer dialog box in the viewport and make the following changes. Yes. Yeah. Okay, there's another layer here which is not actually tile lines. That's floor outline. All right. So that there, for not tile lines, floor outline, I think that has to go as well. Let's have a look at my one. Yeah. So this floor outline we can get rid of as well. This one. So go into the viewport and click on there. Floor outline. Click on it. That's a bit of a shortcut. If you want to get to that layer name very quickly, you just click on that layer there, and it tells you what it is anyway. But it shows you there. You go there. It's highlighted. And you turn it off. Okay, easy. Okay, so yeah. So the thing is, well, if I go into model, for example, I might be able to. I know one particular example. We had someone put all the windows on. All the windows and doors under one layer. I think it was under the Windows layer. Anyway, wherever. If I right click here, select similar, I'm not sure what it's going to give us, but yes, it's worked out all the Windows blocks for some reason. Oh, that's because mine is the same, it's under a different layer. But if they were the same layer, like if I had these two doors, for example, under Windows accidentally, and I go to select similar, again, it seems to be picking up only those types of blocks which they must have a similar name or it's the same name. So it's a little difficult with blocks sometimes to get everything, but when it comes to other things like line work, for example, if I go like this, right click, select similar. So you've got to always watch this one. Again, here it's picked up all the line work, even though this is stashed. But why didn't it pick up this one? Because this one is a polyline, So select similar is great. It can work in some cases in your favor very quickly and get all the stuff that you want, but sometimes it doesn't. So, in some cases, in this case, and again, I should have really had a different color for my doors, and I'm not sure why I didn't. So I can tell. That's why it's handy to tell if you have different color. So you immediately can tell if, I did the windows, did I? Oh yeah, they're doors, sorry. But see, this is not in layer doors because I put it in the windows beforehand. So immediately I can see that's in the wrong layer. So I'll put that back. to that one. Now, yeah, right-click select simulate is great, but just be careful in where you're using it. Sometimes it doesn't give you the result that you want. Did you have a situation before where it worked or not?
No, I just,
Yeah, it's just
just in some students that are, using strictly to put it all in the one layer.
yes, yeah, that's fine.
So, like say for instance, not dimension, just say for instance, joinery isn't in the right layer of joinery, but they've used a different layer.
Yeah, that's a problem because it's sort of the similar thing works on line work or polyline or a circle that works on the type of line it is usually and type of layer. Yeah, so if my joinery here, for example, was in that particular joinery was on the ground line, I would say, okay, well look, these lines here, right click, select similar. I only pick that one up because that's polyline, or was this a line? So yeah, it's not as good as Revit, but it has saved me almost every other time except for today. Yeah, so in this situation it doesn't seem to be working, but it is a great tool. I use it a lot lately. It hasn't been around for long, and I haven't known about it for that long. So, but now I'm using it all the time because it is also a similar thing that you have in Revit. So it's good to get used to that one. All right, great. So let's move on to the next one. So the next bit is this. If I find it. All right. So the next thing is this. So yeah. Also make note that this is not not tile lines, but floor outline. All right. So display the layer dialog box whilst you're in the viewport in the veranda, and make the following changes. VP color for all layers to be 8. And
See you guys.
bye-bye. See you, Clinton. And then, yes, and then VP line type to be continuous. Easy. Okay, so we're making some changes. All right, so basically what we're doing is this. We're going into this viewport here, and we're saying, again, very similar to what you do in Revit. You have one view where you might say, I want everything to be half-tone. And this is what we're doing now. In this viewport, everything will be half-toned or gray, as opposed to this view here. All right, so what we want to do is go into our layer here, the full layer dialog box. And you can see when you're in the viewport here, that you actually get 2 columns of everything. 2 columns of line types, 2 columns of line weights. All right. The first one is the global one that you were given it when you created the layer. The second one is the local one in that viewport only. It says here VP color, viewport color. Right. So we choose for this viewport color to make all the layers a different color. All right. So we're going to make it, all right, all layers to be gray. So we're going to click on one of these layers names. We're going to go to Control A, highlights everything, and then we're going to click on one of these colors on the right hand side, the VP column. Make sure you get the right one, and then make it gray, which is this one here. Hopefully that'll work. 8, yeah, color 8, yeah. So there you go. Everything is gray in here, but not over here. All right, so that's good. Also, the line type will be continuous because we. No, go on.
Wait, explain.
Sorry.
Both my things with my.
Okay, undo. If they're both grey, undo. It's the first thing you do. Right. So you're in the viewport. You've got to be in the viewport in here. So you undo it. Okay. So then there's another step we didn't do, and we wanted to turn everything continuous. Why are we doing that? Because there's some walls here and some, for example, the low wall is there. But that's not why we're doing a continuous, because we don't actually want the low wall there anyway. We're doing continuous because we mainly want the roof to be continuous, but we're just saying, I think, make everything continuous just because it's easy. But really, it's just the roof layer that we want to make continuous. The rest is continuous anyhow, pretty much. So anyway, I'll just do what it says. Control A, go to the second lot of line types and make them all continuous. So just pick up continuous there, go OK. That should apply. Just double check that the roof is continuous. It is. Good. Done. So that's great. So that's good. We've done that. So it gives you a thing here telling you what it should look like, which is that. And then here we go. We need the low wall in the kitchen turned off. As it is in the same layer as the other walls, we need to create a new layer. So really, at the end of the day, I was talking about when we were doing it, we'll save it on layers, we won't create one, but then it comes back and bites you. Should have done a layer back then, be done with it. All right, but I'll know for the next project, right? Okay. So
Actually, no, it's a good thing not to know for the next project. It's a good learning curve to do it now.
Oh yeah, but I'm not going to change this for the next semester. But you will know for your next project.
Yeah.
You'll know to change it before.
Yeah. So if you keep doing this, a couple projects in, the next one you're going to say, hey, I'm going to create a new template file with already a layer in there, so I can just pick it next time. And So we're going to create a new layer. So right click and copy, copy that. And we're going to have a hidden to line type, and we're going to put that wall into that. And make sure the line type is set to by layer in the properties. Just some of you might have. Yes, of course, we would have done that as well. Yes, that way you can turn off that wall separately to timber. All right.
You actually don't need to worry about that. You need to worry about the colour, because it carries over the line type.
Sorry?
It carries it over when you create the new timber wall and you just dump it into the layer. It just carries over the line type.
If I click on here, we've changed that. Yeah, because it's the line. We changed it to be hidden, but we want it to be turned off anyway. So it doesn't matter. If it's turned off, no one is going to know anyway. But no, you need to. It won't matter. It will still look alright onto this, but just for best practice, we already created a layer called low wall, whatever, and we've given it a hidden to line type. Let's just make sure this is set to by layer so that it picks up the properties from the layer. And if you ever want to change it down the track, it will just change it in the layer and it will all work. Rather than So we're just setting it up so it's best practice. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so let's create a layer. Now, I'm still working from paper space, but it doesn't matter where. But I'm in the viewport now. New layer. Yes, new layer. Yeah, new layer is fine for now. Go Control V. That's what it's going to be called. It's going to be the color. Okay, the line type is going to be this one here. The first one is going to be hidden to. You only get one of each column if you're in model space, so it's less confusing. And it's going to be, the color we can keep it the same, doesn't matter. Keep it the same as whatever we've got for the wall, which is wall timber is magenta, that's fine. Magenta, doesn't matter. I've got magenta, you might have something else. Okay, so we've done the layer. All we're going to do is put this thing in there. So I just go like this. And make sure I get all the bits, and I've got to put it in there. Also, I've got to make sure I got this to hidden to by layer, and I've got to put it in. Sorry, wall timber, isn't it? Sorry, I've got to put it in wall. Wall timber low. Sorry, low. There you go. All right, so wall timber low. Now that's supposed to be hidden too, isn't it? Have I done that or not? Thought I did. Did I change the wrong one? Yes, that's hidden 2. That's hidden 2, which is fine. But it assumed I wanted to be continuous for the VP one, which is fine. Who cares? We're going to turn it off anyway. As long as it looks all right over here still, then we're fine. You right? Yeah, the question is what line weight, and it's not specified here. I suppose it's an omission on my side. I assumed it should be the same as it was before. So let's have a look. This one here is magenta, but the color does not signify what thickness it is, so we're going to check. So if this timber one is set to 0.25, this one here for me is 0.05. I'm in trouble, thank you for telling me. So yeah, that's going to be 0.25 as well. Apologies. In the instructions, it doesn't tell you that it should be 0.25. It's assumed, but I didn't pick it up and never assume anything, so thank you. 0.25. Otherwise, it would have looked a little thinner than the other one. Okay, all good. So what we've done in the interim, we just put that lower wall into its own layer and we'll turn it off. But all it's saying is later on, we're going to end up finding out that we really need to turn off all the walls anyway. So even though we created the lower wall now, it probably didn't matter because we would have turned them off anyhow. So we probably could have done without that layer. But at the point where we're creating this now, we thought we just want to keep the walls there. But then you do, absolutely correct.
Thinking about it, we've got a floor for a completely different type of activity to structural framing. So you really want to separate that.
Look, if I had probably a couple more in there, yeah, I'll definitely create a layer. But yeah, I was just saving on layers, but really it was just it's bad practice.
Yeah, it's better practice.
Yeah.
Drama is it really?
It's not a drama. People get hung up about layers for some reason, but it's fine to, we should have really created a layer from the scratch from the beginning. And exactly, yeah. Yes, exactly. Anyway, the other thing here is that we've given you a template file that's got just about everything in there, so it's good practice to create layers, and we're going to create some more later. And I'm going to show you how to create some layers later on without, when you're dealing with paper space, when you create a new layer, it automatically appears in every viewport. Then you have to go through and switch it off in every viewport, so I'll show you how to create one without that happening as well. So we're going to do a few more layers later. Yeah, all good. All right, so basically that's where we're at. Here's a reminder of our color, line weight, not that we need to worry about it, but it's more like, that's really redundant now. Most of us are not using it. Set roof, roof plan, VP color, magenta. So we want the roof, the roof plan, which is the layer that the roof is on, I guess. This one here. I don't know why calling it a roof plan, that's a bad name. That should really be called roof outline to me, but it was something I inherited. But I think I'll change it for the future because roof plan is actually the floor plan, not the layer name of that thing. So this is a roof outline. But anyway, they're calling it a roof plan in here. You can rename it if you want, but that's what the instructions refer to it at this point.
You want that magenta?
Sorry?
You want that magenta now?
Yeah. You see, I just went through and made them all grey, and then I'm just going to go back and pick the bits I want to fix and make them a bit different. It was easier to do that. So let's go with that. Now, I'm going to go into the magenta. Let's now create a layer for the rafters. Let's call it roof rafters and give it a white color for both the VP and the normal color. Because now, why are we doing it white? And the reason I put this here because back then white it had to be 0.25. Really, what we're saying is just make it 0.25. I don't care what color you give it, to be honest. But but it's more like it's in the future. I'll probably be writing mega 0.25. The color is irrelevant. All right, you okay?
The
I wasn't-
line type for
We're really chuffing along with this, aren't we? Not. Okay, let's have a look. He's laughing. Okay. We're getting there slowly. All right, so this is going to be magenta. We said the fact. Oh no, we said we're going to create a. Have we done? I haven't done this yet, have we? What have I done? I haven't done this. So we haven't changed that yet, have I? I've been meaning to. All right, I've got to ask another question, I think. So, so this roof roof plan, is it? Roof plan. What happens if I change it through here? Good question. See, you can do it through there as well. You can just, and all it did is just in here. It only shows me the VP color in here, so it's easy to do it from here if you don't want to go to do it through here. Anyway, that's all right. Now, what else are we doing? All right, so we've done that. Let's now create a step 7. Create a layer called rafters. Let's call it roof rafters. Okay, it's a proper name. And we're going to make it basically 0.7. The color is up to you. So it's going to be 0.7 thick. All right, so let's do that. All right, let me, for this one, I'm going to click the usual, create a new layer here. This one here, the first one. Control V, rafters. Okay, there it is. I'm going to make it, we said rafters are going to be 0.7 thick. I can give it any color I like, but I did suggest to use a white or black color. And we want it to be for both. So make sure that that's also white. And make sure it's 0.7, not 0.05. 0.7. Okay, nice and thick. So this is a roof plan. So the roof members is what we want them to stand out. It is continuous, so that's assumed, I think. So there we have it. Line type show continuous. It says that actually there. Create one or more layers and call it wall openings. One more layer, sorry, and call it wall openings with a color of 8 for both. Okay, so wall openings. Create that. Set the wall openings. The current layer. Start drawing stuff. Okay. Okay. All right, so with the wall openings, as a current layer, we can draw lines where the door and window openings were, as well as any other areas where you might need to patch up a broken wall layer, sort of a wall. However, external door and window openings may be skipped, as we will use a different technique to hatch the external walls. Okay, so all the internal stuff. Wall openings. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so let's now create a new layer called that. Wall openings, and it's going to be color 8, which means, what does color 8 mean? Well, basically a thin 0.18, doesn't it? Okay, so it's 0.18 that it means really. So I think we also need to do something else in a minute. Hang on a minute. So wall openings is going to be color 8. Okay, so wall openings. Now, can I just go back a step here, guys? That I think it's been omitted further up here because we're not using this system here. We need to, if you have a look at how the line types, the line weights are, the default up here, because we have not, in this version here, we're assuming we're using the ABS. So basically, by setting the color 8, according to ABS.CTB, color 8 is supposed to be, what is it, color, it's a gray one. I can't see it. It's 0.18. Anyway, it's 0.18. I can't find it. Light gray, Dark grey, okay. There's 9 and 8. You got 0.18. All right, so really, we should really be doing another step here ourselves and do Control A and actually make sure the VP line weight, not the line weight, the VP one over here, that one, the second column, is also right through 0.18. We'll change the magenta back. The magenta is supposed to be something else. I'll check that out in a minute. So let's go 0.18. Okay, do that first. Now the magenta one is normally 0.25, so that one there will just go back on its own. That's the roof plan one. We'll make that one there 0.25. It's only a minor difference anyway, but that's it. All right, so that's what we are trying to achieve. When we print it out, so everything that's grey, it comes out 0.18. So we set that. In fact, we didn't have to change the colors. We could have kept the colors exactly the same and then just change the line weight. And everything would have come out 0.18. But I did change the color as well, but that's irrelevant that I've changed the color. This is what's actually doing the work, the line weight. All right, so we created a couple of layers. Okay, so let's close that. All right, so how about that? So I picked that up late. All right, so wall openings. So set wall openings is the current layer, and let's do that. So let's go. Now wall openings is my current layer. Wall openings here. I set that as current. There it is up there. Now, I'm not going to work through here. Look, this is where now, if I just double click out here, this is where it's handy now. See if I pop in here in model and start working. Well, I've got a lot of other stuff here that's in my way here. If I want to draw some lines across here, there's doors and things like that, hatching, right? So this is where now it's handy to be working through the viewport, but in model space. All right? So look at the difference. If I double click on this outline here now, double click, I come into the viewport, but it looks the same as, like I'm in my model, in model space essentially, but it's all formatted so my layers are turned off, so it's nice and clean, and I can start working in here. As opposed to if I went straight to model here, I've got all this other stuff in my way. So this is where it's handy to be working in by double clicking on that outline there. All right. So now I can easily draw lines over the top of where the wall used to be. So here to here.
How are you getting your review to work? Because I never click on the line and it just goes to the top.
Shoot. Ah. Yes, yours will be probably dark or black background. Mine is white because I set it white for both. Just to confuse you, because it looks better on the recording. But anyway, yeah, so now I'm just going to draw lines where a door used to be. So I click the line tool and I go endpoint to endpoint. Then I press spacebar. Then I press spacebar again and it repeats the previous command. So I never have to go and pick up the command again. Spacebar. And just draw spacebar again, and that goes perpendicular. Spacebar, spacebar, repeats the previous command, and go there, spacebar. That's like enter. And this one here, there's a spot here somewhere, and this one here, I don't know where it goes. I actually don't know where that door is here. I mean, I've got no idea. So what am I going to do here? There's no door. So either turn the doors on, or I have to just do that one in model and come back. So I think I'll do this one in model because I've got some locations for that one there. So I'll just trace over here to here because I just went straight into model for this particular door because I couldn't see where the door, basically the whole width of that corridor is the door. Tap, tap to get the endpoint. Now I can go back to layout, double click there and then double click on top of that. So that's where that goes. and then we're going to draw a line, alpha line, spacebar here, spacebar comes, oops, spacebar comes back. If you do too many spacebars, it begins from where you were last. You've got a spacebar line, spacebar again starts from where the other line ended, so you've got to be careful with that. It's up to you, you can just pick up the line every time, but it's just a bit quicker if you don't do that. So line, let's go through wherever you had a door and put a line. Or a door opening, or this one here.
Do we have to do it for the window?
No, it specifically says not to worry about that. Yeah, yes,
Oh, don't.
no.
Well, there you go. What's that to take half an hour?
Well, it doesn't matter if you've done it, but you wasted your time, yes. Because you're going to do something else anyway. Yeah, so don't do the outside ones.
What we're doing is actually creating a new layer that applies to everything. It's a global layer, is that correct?
It is a global layer. Now, yes, good question. Now, let's go back to our layout and see what we've done. So we're drawing those lines in, but see how they're appearing in this?
Behind the window.
Well, yeah. I didn't put them in the windows, so you can't see them. But they are appearing over the top of my doors here, right? And I did that on purpose because it shows you that when you create a new layer, it seems to be available for every viewport, both of them, which is not great.
Which is great.
Well, it's great if you want it to be there, but I don't actually want it to be.
I can turn it off.
You can turn it off, but if you created a whole lot of them, and imagine we've got one viewport extra that we want to turn that layer off. We've done our third sheet by now, we're creating layers in the third sheet, we're going to have to come back to the first sheet and check that both viewports that layer is not there. And the second sheet that both viewports that is not there. All right. So that can be a problem if you're creating your layers so they appear globally in every viewport. Because sometimes you only want to create a layer at that point because you just want it in that viewport. Like now, I only want my rafters in that viewport only. Possibly I might want my wall openings in my ceiling plan as well, possibly electrical plan, right?
Yeah.
So that may be okay to be global, but you can always turn it back on after, just for that one or two viewports extra. So you're better off making it, if you've got lots of viewports, not to be available to start with in every viewport. And I'll show you that next. All right. So now we have to do some housekeeping as we're going along. So in this viewport in here, I already can see there's a problem. So we need to go and turn off the wall openings in this viewport. So they're gone in this viewport, but they should be available still in this viewport because I didn't turn them off in that viewport. All right, so they've got to go in there. And we'll do the same thing with the rafters when they come up later, but let us put them on, then you'll see them there and you'll see why I'm turning them off. All right, so that's the story there. The trick to that is when you're creating a layer, you just need to go to the second button to create the layer rather than the first button, which says new layer, frozen in all viewports to start off with. Creates it and it's frozen in every viewport. And you just store it for what you need it for. Yeah. All right, anyway, keep going. And I don't know if I finished drawing everything, but it must be pretty close. I've done that one, done that one. If you miss one, it's not the end of the world because you can, as you see it, you can put it in after. All right, easy. All right, so the next thing is this. All right, do that. However, external door and window openings may be skipped. It may be skipped. That's your saving clause. If you've done it, it doesn't matter, as we'll be using a different technique. Okay, so after drawing any new line work in this viewport, they will appear in the previous viewport, which we just showed you, which is the floor plan one. So you have to turn that off, or both layers really, but we've turned off just one for now. All right, so next thing. So we've got that. So it should look, oh, okay, well, it should look like this, but it doesn't look like this yet, but the internal ones do. Okay, on layer wall hatch, trace the outer wall, so wall hatch. I've got a wall hatch, I think we should have. Trace the outer walls using this layer in polyline and offset that polyline to 40. Then turn off all layers and hatch the outer walls. Okay, so turn on wall timber and wall openings as well, and hatch the internal walls. Okay, so turn on all layers and make sure the viewports are formatted correctly. Be sure to check the floor plan viewport as well. Make sure that's formatted. All right, so basically what we're doing is in the wall hatch layer, which I'm be puzzled about at this point, we're going to draw the outlines. Now the wall hatch from memory in this scenario is frozen, so we can't do it exactly with that. And again, I think it's a little bit of a glitch in the notes, is because we actually had the wall hatch on a layer hatch back then, not wall hatch. So again, another problem to be fixed up. Okay, that's fine. Wall hatch, because if I turn on wall hatch, I will get this one here come up, which is a bit of a problem that's there, because it might show through, it might not. Just trying to guess what we should be doing here. We're not going to hatch all the way through here. Well, we're going to do a solid hatch, so we need to maybe we can do a wall solid hatch or something like that, a new layer. I think that's the best way. All right, so let's create a new layer. How are we going to create this new layer though? So let me just undo this. So that's turned off. So I'm going to create a new layer. All right, it's not in your notes, so just do it as I'm going along. All right, I'm going to create a new layer. What are we going to call it? Let's just call it wall shade, because we're going to shade it as grey. All right, so let's do that. Now, because I'm wiser now than before, she's laughing. She knows it's not true. Okay, so I think we have a wiser. So let's go with creating that new layer with this second button, so that doesn't appear in my first viewport. So create a new layer. I'm going to call it wall. Oops, do a capital. Wall shade. It's got a shade. I can't think of it. Oh, I've got a wall shade already. Oh, my God. Okay, I'm doing well. Forget about what I said. It's just already have covered it. I'm all covered. Name layers. Okay, let's call it something else. All right. So there's a layer in here which I've got to delete. Sorry. Then the nodes are not quite correct. That's the problem. The layer is there for you to use already, but it's not in the notes. All right. So on layer wall shade. Sorry, on this page here, we already got a layer called wall shade. We just had to write it. So that's on page 14. Just change that one to wall shade. Yeah, so the layer's already set up. We're just, see, at least I got some logic. I was going to call it exactly the same. I realized, oh, it's already there. All right, yeah. So I can't remember my logic. That's a problem. don't laugh at me. Okay, so there you go. So also notice that layer's got this color of 128, 128, 128. All right, so how did I get 128, 128? Well, that's the global color. Well, that's that's what I given it, but yeah, that's interesting. Let's do a bit of that, and I'll show you what happens. Hopefully, let's not worry about the colors at this point. It says just set onto that, and let's do it. Okay, so let's go and do this. So let's go to set the color, current layer. So wash shade is our current layer. All right, and let's go here. All right, so now what I'm going to do is do a polyline. So polyline in that layer, and go here, and I'm going to go perpendicular across. Oh, there's an endpoint there. That should be it. There, wash shade. Yep. Just do the outline and go around. Yeah. Now across here, again, there's an endpoint there, so that's where it should be. Hope. Oh, no. No. When, oh, yes. Hold on. Oh, we're right. Sorry. That's okay. And I started from here, didn't I? Oh, no, I didn't. Where did I start from? Ah, that's interesting. I can't see a thing. I think I started from here. Now I can't see it. Why is that? Because it's frozen. Let's unfreeze it in this layer, in this viewport. Yeah, yours is probably frozen as well. So that's, yeah, so look, that should be down there. All right, so we're going to offset this to the inside. So just go click on that, go off, and when you click on that, it changed. Did it change for you? No, it should be on home. It's all right. Yeah, just go offset 240, enter, and to the not the outside but the inside. You won't be able to see much except for where there's another, like a window. You can see there's a line going there. There, just escape that. All right, done. So all this to format it so it looks nice. So let's have a look. All right, so now we've done that one there. Now then turn off all layers and hatch the outer walls. Then turn on the wall timber and do that one as well. So what we're going to do is turn off all the layers in this viewport. All right. Actually, no. What we'll do is not turn them off like we did before with the little frozen thing. What we're actually going to do is come in here, and you can see that all our layers are on. Okay. Globally. Now we're going to go globally and turn them all off. Control A, which means momentarily, it's just a technique. Yeah, turn off the current layer, whatever. Okay, momentarily, there will be nothing in our viewport, like where are we? Layout. There's nothing we can see. But we're going to go back now and just turn on war shade. All right, and actually war viewport as well. Just those two for now. Oh, there you go. And now probably title block will help, but that's fine. Let's go and turn on title block as well, which is under title. Where's war title block? Title block, not war. Title block. Okay, so just those couple. Let's see. I think I'm in the viewport. That's why. Sorry. But anyhow, I can get out of the viewport with this little thing here. So this is what we meant to have. Sorry. Globally, turn them off. You just go into the big layer button. Yeah. The light bulb, yeah, but you can't.
If you hover over it, it says turn the layout on or off.
Yeah. Well. So you're going here. Turn them on globally. You can go through here and just that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you can see that layer that we put in here is actually appearing over here as well. So that should never be in here. That shade layer. So we can go in here and turn that off in this viewport to start with. So we are housekeeping. Okay, so that shouldn't be in there. So that's what we should have. So now if I go double click on this one here, I'm in the viewport of the roof, but through into the model. So I'm going to go and hatch that using this shade layer. So remember before we did hatch solid, same thing. I'm going to go click here. I'm going to go the solid hatch, this one here. And I'm just actually the easiest way for this. Well, you could go in here if it works. That works. Otherwise, you can just select and pick the two lines, and that will work as well. So just go in here and go close hatch creation. All right. So that's done. So then what you got to do is turn on the internal walls, which is wall timber. Just on, because it's got the off now, wall timber, not the lower one. And you also need the openings there. And you go through and you hatch each one of those as well. So you just go hatch, and there's no magic. You just have to very carefully zoom in and hatch. It's a bit slow. Doing a lot of calculations as it's going through. Oh, see that? So I managed to get the wrong thing. Control Z immediately. And we're still in the hatch command. Your computer will be having a bit of trouble maybe, but
Mine touching the whole thing.
you just Control Z if it's doing that.
But how do I select the wall? It's going like in reverse.
Just zoom in. Well, let me just finish this off, and we can all go. It looks like we are not going to meet the deadline again. Eh? Yeah, you can go. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just finishing this off. But as far as getting the thing finished, we haven't done the roof yet. So unfortunately, we're going to have to extend that deadline again. Oh, you're not complaining? Because we haven't done the we haven't done the rafters yet. Unfortunately, we didn't get as far as we thought we might do. We were quite ambitious last week to actually think we're going to finish everything last week. It's taking like 3 weeks to finish it. So we're going to have, I think by next time we should finish it all off and postpone that deadline for another week. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll send an email saying that during the course of tomorrow.
Yeah. If people could try and get it as far as they can, that would be great.
Yes, of course, if we can do as much as we can, which is basically this much. I mean, the notes are pretty self-explanatory. You can probably get it done,
Yeah.
but I like to go through because other issues come up.
No, it is actually really useful for you to go through it because it's just
Yeah.
even things like just remembering these
Yeah, well,
double clicking stuff
yeah,
like that. You just don't remember it until you
that's
had,
right.
had another.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is so cool.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of issues like that come up. See ya. Bye bye. Have a good holidays. Bye bye. So this is what it looks like at the moment, and I'm just going to turn off those walls. Yeah, see ya. So that I'll leave it there, and I'll continue with this next when it become the 15th of October. Thanks, guys. It's all work in progress. We'll keep adjusting.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.